Howdy doody everyone, Wambu here. Mario. What the hell is going on with you, my dude? In 2017, close to Christmas time, a very generous Nintendo put out Super Mario Odyssey, which, prior to its release, was looking more and more bizarre with each trailer. Is that a T-Rex? Does this theme song have lyrics?
Jump with me, grab coins with me.
Did Mario just throw his hat at a frog and subsequently become said frog? Something seems different, but I just can't put my finger on it. Maybe it's the level design. Yeah, that's my topic. That third word in the title ain't no misnomer. These kingdoms, as they're referred to in-game, are some of the franchise's most fleshed out platforming playgrounds, and we ain't doing some namby-pamby top 10 shit. No, sir. We're ranking them all, and there's nothing any of you can do about it. Now, with that said, with a task as big as this, I'm gonna need a little assistance, so come on
Top Zelda dodges, let's go!
Top 15 Mario Kingdoms!
Oh, we're doing Mario.
Yeah, bitch. Of course we doing Mario. You want in?
Sure.
Awesome. Then let's go.
Rules, Wambu.
Right. It's worth noting that both Spectre and I made our own individual rankings of each of the kingdoms, and it turns out collaborating involves this thing called compromise, which I definitely can't eat. Can I eat it?
You can't eat it.
I can't eat it. For the fun of it, we'll show you guys both the final ranking and the individual rankings for each entry. And while Spectre and I had a lot of overlap, there were some disparities, which is of course no big deal because we definitely respect each other a lot.
Indeed. Also, we both felt it would be kind of weird ranking Dark and Darker Side as separate entries, so we'll be addressing those when we eventually talk about the Moon Kingdom. The base game and the post game also factor into the rankings, so there will be some spoilers in that regard, but like, if you thought there'd be no spoilers where we rank every kingdom in the game, then I don't know what to say to you, bro.
With all that out of the way, it's time to talk about those kingdoms. Now, I'm sure you're all wondering, what is an incredibly brief level in the main game that has virtually nothing to offer in the way of post-game doing at the bottom of our list?
Who the hell is wondering that?
Individuals struck with Lovecraftian madness.
You're pandering to me with that comment, and it's totally working. Questionable logic aside, there are a lot of things wrong with this kingdom. Admittedly, it is still in Mario Odyssey, and everything about Mario Odyssey is the best answer to life since 42, but I'm sure most can agree that the Ruined Kingdom is a bit of a dark blemish on this otherwise amazing adventure.
To be fair, Ruined Kingdom seemingly wasn't made to be anything other than a quick diversion. In the main game, Bowser somehow manages to grab hold of a big-ass fucking dragon, what? And you gotta go to this kingdom to give it a butt stomp.
Yeah, but you have to admit, there's some serious wasted potential here. When I first saw this place, I was actually legitimately intrigued, like we stepped into a Castlevania world or something. I would have loved to explore a dark, creepy castle. I thought that this was going to be the kingdom that had booze in it.
But nah, apparently it was made for this fight and not much more, which is fine. The fight is still pretty good, at least.
Not to mention the hard mode rematch is even better. Still, it amounts to a kingdom with very little to offer, relative to the rest at least. I mean, geez, there's not even much to do after you hit the moon block. You did it! I'm free!
Son of a bitch.
And on the topic of brief pseudo-kingdoms,
much like Ruined Kingdom, Cloud Kingdom is not used as an actual kingdom, but a boss bridge between the next batch of kingdoms. It serves as a Bowser fight arena, and while the fight is amazeballs, you start it almost immediately, and then leave right after.
And like with Ruined, there's only a paltry bit to do after the post-game starts. In fact, Cloud Kingdom has the least amount of moons of any kingdom in the game, period, with an entire one less moon than Ruined.
So there's even less to do in Cloud Kingdom?
Yeah. Why did we rank it higher than Ruined again?
Well, I have two words for you. Visual consistency.
Sounds pretentious. Explain.
It's true that Ruined Kingdom is definitely a very interesting place for a Mario game, Anywhere else, it's just a generic dark fantasy setting. But at least Cloud Kingdom is consistent with the rest of the game. Sure, there are some places in Odyssey that look more realistic than others, but it never felt like you copy-pasted Mario into a completely different game. That doubles for Cloud Kingdom. Even if there's not much to do, it's still consistent with all of the other times we got to walk on clouds in other Mario games. You can just see that kind of shit happening here. Ruined Kingdom? Not so much.
That's true, though Ruin still looked cool, so I gave it a pass in that regard. The reason I personally ranked Cloud higher is that while it has one less moon, it's still a slightly more varied gameplay experience on the whole, with more distinctive bonus areas and some platforming sections on the overworld itself.
So congrats, Cloud Kingdom, you beat Ruined Kingdom. That's still not even close to bronze, so don't celebrate.
Goddamn Cloud Kingdom, you fucking suck! Alright, so with the two mini-kingdoms out of the way, it's finally time to talk about the actual kingdoms in the game, even if this one is still pretty bare bones compared to the others.
From here on, all the kingdoms will have a very nice thing in common, in that there's plenty of opportunities for you to run, jump, throw your hat around, and just giving you the opportunity to play a gosh diddly darn Mario game. It's a good time all around, I tells you what. Alright, Felty Arts and Crafts aesthetic jungle time, let's go!
To be honest, I'm not too fond of how this one looks.
Alright. Cut the lights. Okay, listen. Wambu, buddy, stop having shit opinions.
What?
And we're back! It's good aesthetically, damn it! It's true, I might love the way this kingdom looks. A lot. And the stretchy caterpillar guys are the best, but insta-kill poison being absolutely everywhere is just the worst. It's like poison layered on top of a chocolate cake.
Hey, honey, I'm home. I bought you a chocolate cake.
Oh boy, my favorite!
What's wrong?
You put poison on this cake! What the hell is wrong with you?
Why?
That kind of got carried away from me a little.
So anyway, Lost Kingdom is a level that I somewhat begrudgingly have an admiration for, since I gotta admit, it's a well-designed stage with a number of interesting enemies and platforming elements to it. Even still, the menial objectives and overall compact design made the intrigue wear out fast.
Ironically enough, much like Cloud and Ruined Kingdom, this is actually a bridge kingdom. You see, on your way to the Metro Kingdom, you catch up to Bowser, and you have yourself that little brawl on the Cloud Kingdom.
And what follows afterwards is you ending up falling conveniently onto what's known as the Lost Kingdom. And Lost is right, as in the game's narrative, it's actually completely uncharted, and in the post-game you see the Toad starting to colonize it a bit. So hey, you're not just a globe-trotting Bowser chaser, but a pioneer as well. We also get the return of the Klepto. I remember that guy from Mario 64.
And just like in Mario 64, he steals your fucking hat!
Nothing a stone fixture slamming into the booty won't solve, but an interesting departure from the typical moon collecting regardless.
Shout out to Glydon in this level. He's a lot of fun to use here, because you can pretty much cover the whole map with him.
Which kinda puts into perspective just how small it is.
Oh, well then fuck it. Lost Kingdom dude number 15.
No.
That is equally viable.
I fucking love snow!
No, really? I couldn't tell.
Yes, which is why I must very tragically admit that Snow Kingdom is one of the weaker ones in the game.
Shun! We must shun him!
You ranked it even lower!
Shun! We must shun me! I'm a disgrace to my family.
Nah, but seriously, I wanted to like this one a lot more, cause I really dig the snow aesthetic. But really, Snow Kingdom is kinda boring layout-wise, consisting of one open area that isn't even very visible when you first arrive, and some pretty linear platforming segments in the underbelly.
The big problem with Snow Kingdom is most of the things you're able to do here is way too... what's the word? Segmented. In most other kingdoms, there are places off the beaten path to explore, yes, but for the most part, the level design complements itself to where most of the time, you're able to string together your exploration to get what I like to call a moon combo going, where you can just grab one moon and then immediately run off over in another direction to get another moon, but in Snow Kingdom, you can't really do that.
However, I did personally still find some stuff to really like about this kingdom, aside from aesthetics. For example, it has one of the most likable communities of any kingdom. Look at these adorable little fluffos. I want to dribble them.
It's like if Goron pods fused with Arctic carp seals.
Plus, the racing is quite fun once you get a hang of how the bouncing works.
That, and I love the little nod to Mario Kart and the racing sounds. It's like, yeah, we know what we did. You know it's cheap, but you love it anyway.
So, yeah, chalk it up to some shining attributes layered under a pretty underwhelming design as a whole, but I swear, I was looking for any excuse whatsoever to rank it higher.
Too bad, so sad, this kingdom is not very good. Moving on.
You take the moon, and you take the moon, and you take the moon, and you take the moon, you take the moon,
I fucking hate that show.
And you take...
This is one small step for man, one giant leap for Mario because he can jump really fucking high.
Fun fact, this footage we're showing right now is of the actual moon landing, when real-life Mario landed on the real-life moon.
Can we talk about the moon now?
I'm already talking about it, I don't know what you're on about.
Anyway, this is probably one of the more varied kingdoms in the game. I mean, on the surface, you got some typical moon bullshit going on, and then you go underground and... lava! What?
The moon is a pretty awesome place to end the journey, and it also gave me a full-on nostalgia attack when I first got to it, cause I fucking loved Mario Galaxy, and holy shit, that game came out in 2007, and I am fucking ancient.
It's also the only kingdom to change up how Mario controls, cause, you know, the whole gravity thing. Really, I think the best thing about this place is just how final this place feels. I mean, yes, the moon aesthetically is really nice, and it does feel suitably barren, while still giving you plenty of things to do in it, but the big standout is the chapel at the very end of the area, especially since you don't realize at first that you gotta go through that lava platforming section right before it.
Admittedly, the kingdom was a little more barren than I would have liked, but the designers were nice enough to let us play as the frog in the low gravity level, which was pretty much the best idea ever.
It also plays host to some of the best platforming in the game. Speaking of which, let's address the post-game additions to the Moon Kingdom, Dark Side and Darker Side.
Dark Side doesn't really have much going on aside from a Brutal's boss rush. Darker Side, on the other hand, is much more exciting, as it's basically the Grand Master level, and it's a damn good one to boot.
Also, best final level theme ever. Rock on, Pauline. So riddle me this, dear viewers. What happens when two people who have amazing chemistry and agree on a lot of things have a very violent disagreement? The answer?
Boring. This one's boring.
Oh, come on, it's not that.
It's boring, and your opinion is shit.
That's a little harsh, isn't it?
Boing. Oh, you hear that? That's the wrong opinion alarm.
That is not something you actually have installed.
Sorry, say again? I couldn't hear you over my alarm that you set off with your wrong-ass opinion.
I know only hate.
Straight out of the gate, I'm gonna give this kingdom a bit of credit and say that I actually kinda like the partially Greek, partially French-inspired architecture on the stage. It's a very pretty kingdom on the whole, but virtually everything else about it is just not interesting at all. Like Snow, most of the kingdom takes place in virtually one area, except most of it goes even more underutilized, and it's pretty much all underwater.
We got ourselves a bit of a quality versus quantity thing then, Wambu. It's true that the Snow Kingdom has the racing with the Chivarians, but you know what Lake Kingdom has?
What?
It has...
You got nothing.
I got nothing.
Then why are you—
I like water levels, okay? At least once in Mario, anyway. I don't know what it is. I think I kinda had a bit of an aneurysm when I found out that the side-scrolling water controls were being used in Odyssey when the 64 controls worked just fine, but then we had even better controls when we captured a Cheep Cheep, and after that, I kinda just went brain dead for a few minutes.
Okay, you know what? Admittedly, the swimming controls aren't that bad, and as water levels go, Lake Kingdom, it's perfectly tolerable. It doesn't change the fact, however, that 9 times out of 10, I'd prefer to stick to land, since that's where we get the actual platforming. I think that's why most of the fun I got out of Lake Kingdom was mainly in the bonus levels, rather than the kingdom itself.
What about zippers, Wambu? Do you fuck with zippers, Mr. Wamboy?
Yeah, I fuck with zippers.
Then I think we could get along just fine. Alright, Alright, so let's check the list. So far we have kingdoms that have too little to do with them, kingdoms that have things too spread apart, and things that are too fucking small to fully enjoy on an objective level. So what happens when you take all of these elements and put them into one kingdom?
You make it the first level?
You make it the first fucking level!
Going into the game blind, if you had learned beforehand that the new Mario game starts off with an area themed entirely around hats, you'd maybe expect something a bit more colorful and cheerful than the single most monochromatic area in the entire game.
So when you actually start playing the game, you'd be forgiven for thinking that Mario starts off dead, because what the hell am I looking at?
This is just not what beginning Mario levels look like, and yet once you get to know it, Cap Kingdom is fairly charming, with the quaint little town of Bonneton that references London, of all things.
Cheerio, mate. Pretty good kingdom. What say, what say?
Oh god damn it, Wambu, what are you doing?
England is my city, yes sir it is.
Anyway, the more time you spend here, especially during post-game, the more you realize this place is freaking adorable. The cat people are so cute, and oh my god, they have the cutest voices!
Aside from the town, though, is the world's best hat stand, which basically acts as the tutorial for the platforming and capturing mechanic. Aside from that, there really isn't much more to the overall design. There's a surprising number of nooks and crannies to find moons in, but at the end of the day, it's still the tutorial level.
But Wambu, it has one thing that no other kingdom has.
Do you actually have an answer this time?
Yes! Yes, I do!
And that is?
The best fog physics ever! You run through that shit and it's gone! Do you have any idea how satisfying it is to do that?
I mean, I guess it's kinda cool.
It feels like we're walking through marshmallows!
I do like marshmallows.
Case in point!
Gotta say, Bowser, loving what you've done with the place. Okay, so I personally thought this was really cool because I've been studying Japanese for like 8 years now, and it was kinda awesome to see a kingdom that pulled really heavily from Japanese culture.
I don't know, man. This is total weeb shit right here.
Weeb shit, but it's like legitimately clever referencing to traditional Japanese castles, icons, and architecture. Hell, it's even got a tea garden. It's really cool.
Weeb! Bowser's a weeb, everybody! Tell the fucking weeb!
Why do I even bother?
Okay, but in all seriousness, I'm kinda just used to Bowser's castle, you know? You got all that medieval shit going on with the old castles, and then here we are with a massive change in architectural design. I guess you could say that I'm more disappointed in what we could have gotten, rather than being disappointed in what we have. In all other regards, this is actually pretty good, even if it's pretty, well, linear.
I personally think a departure from the medieval style is pretty welcome.
You're just saying that because it's pandering to you.
Figured me out pretty quick there, huh? I do, however, agree with the point about it being linear, which at the very least kinda makes sense as a build-up to confronting Bowser. It doesn't bother me too much, but I can see how it'd be an issue. What I love a lot, though, is that this kingdom is home to one of my favorite captures, the Pokios, which not only allow for wall puzzles, but also lets the player climb the architecture in a way that's totally unique to this kingdom.
It is true that they're pretty cool. Not to mention the enemies themselves are a lot of fun to fight as Mario, not just as a Pokio, which, by the way, totally satisfying to skewer an enemy with these guys. If I could point out a thing that's really awesome though, samurai costume. Yes!
Is every entry just gonna end with you making some kind of tangential observation?
You know who you decide to collab with.
Son of a bitch.
So,
Yeah?
could we consider this the base breaker between us?
Yeah. So, if you guys wondered at any point where the biggest disparity between our opinion is, it would be here, in the Mushroom Kingdom.
Oh, we disagree hard on this one. So why don't I start so that you can fulfill your end on a high note fetish you love so much, Wambu?
Well, you don't gotta be a dick about it.
So let's get this out of the way right now. It's not that I don't appreciate the presence of the Mushroom Kingdom. I like the way it looks, I like the purpose it serves. Well, okay, no, I don't like the purpose it serves, but I'll get to that in a minute. And I especially like that you're able to fight every boss you fought as harder versions of themselves whenever you want. That's awesome, because I love a lot of these boss battles. The first big problem we have with Mushroom Kingdom, though, is that it's exclusively a post-game kingdom. Now, granted, Dark Side and Darker Side of the Moon are also post-game exclusives. The big disappointment for me is that it's empty! You got moons to collect, sure, but there are a lot of areas that feel like they're not even finished. This place feels like a really pretty debug map. Like, this is the place the devs would go to test out anything new they might have, and then they realized that they got a really nice map, so they decided to flesh it out a little more. But the biggest thing I absolutely despise about this kingdom is one simple thing. This fucking Toadette. You know why I hate her? The achievement moons. Toadette is a completionist's worst nightmare, because if you want to see everything that this game has to offer, all the secrets, all the rewards, you need to get these achievement moons. And there are so freaking many of them. And some of them have the most ridiculous stipulations ever. Like, seriously, one of the achievements demands that you find bonitors hidden on people's heads. Now you're asking me to turn Mario Odyssey into a hidden object game. Great. Rambling over. Have fun, Wambu. I'm done with this shit.
Wow. Okay, so I'm speaking as someone who isn't generally a huge completionist, but yeah, I liked this kingdom a lot. Now, it's kind of true that in a similar way to some kingdoms that I've criticized, Mushroom Kingdom can feel kind of minimal in its overall design. Hell, even its brochure kind of makes some sarcastic quips in relation to how unthreatening it is. But in contradiction to what Spectre said, it works for me because of its placement after the main story. It doesn't have the pretense of exploring new uncharted land because, well, it's home, and it's an overall relaxing sight to see after everything you've had to go through. And yet, even with the overall layout being kind of small and not feeling all too dense, there's still quite a good amount of secrets to find all throughout. Match that with some of the more memorable bonus levels, and Mushroom Kingdom is just an overall nice experience. Also, getting a fuck ton of moons from Toadette was tedious, but also kind of empowering, so yeah, from an objective standpoint, it's a problem, but I didn't mind it all too much.
I will admit that after you chase around Peach, the Mushroom Kingdom becomes one big party hub. It really does feel like you're making an impact on the world as a whole, and the Mario world feels much larger as a result of it.
So in other words, we're ending this entry on a high note, baby.
Nah, I guess we are. Ah, damn it, I'm part of the problem now!
Motherfucking T-Rex!
So if Cap Kingdom was the introduction to the game, then Cascade Kingdom is the introduction to the rest of the everything outside of the tutorial things.
I'm blown away by your ability to articulate words.
I've been around Tebbies for too long.
So Cascade Kingdom is kind of another introduction level, as pseudo said by Spectre.
The takeaway is, you're welcome.
You're welcome.
But rather than getting the player acquainted with, say, the controls, Cascade is more about introducing the player to the collection of power moons for the Odyssey. And this feels way more like a proper Mario intro level than Cap Kingdom.
You see, in previous objective-based 3D Mario games like 64 or Galaxy, you'd be booted from every level every time you collected the item in question. But Odyssey took the Banjo-Kazooie approach by having you stick around and continue exploring after collecting one. So rather than changing the level based on your current objective, Cascade Kingdom introduced the concept of just progressing the level forward by collecting the story-based moons, unlocking new parts of the kingdom as you go.
And as sort of a transitioning point between Cap and the levels where the game really opens up, Cascade does its job remarkably well. Admittedly, this is yet another level where I wish there was even more of it, since Cascades are fucking cool, and having a bigger mountainous area would have been awesome. But at the end of the day, what we got was still good.
That's definitely a fair point, but I don't know. I think it works really well, actually. The creators of the game knew that this was going to be a return to form in terms of Super Mario 64 standards, so they decided to make Cascade Kingdom essentially the Baa battlefield of the game. It's even about the same size, too! It also has chain chomps next to a gate, and a boss at the top of the mountain. Wait a minute! I can transform! Ribbit, motherfucker!
5 more entries, Wambu. 5 more entries.
Well, Wambu, we made it to the top 5, despite your shitty opinions.
Ah, Spectre. I hope you're prepared.
Wait a fucking minute. No! Don't you dare!
I hope you're prepared for an...
No!
unforgettable luncheon.
God damn it! My hatred burns brighter than 1,000 suns. And so does the lava in this kingdom, because hot damn, this place is cooking! Nah, but really, I think a few people might find it a bit hypocritical that we put Legend Kingdom so high on the list, considering what I said about visual consistency during Cloud Kingdom. But you see, that's the beauty about Legend Kingdom. Even though this feels like a radically different location from other places in Mario Odyssey, it still feels like a location in the Mario universe for a multitude of reasons.
I mentioned at the beginning of the video that Odyssey looked weirder with each trailer we got, and of the locations that were teased to us, Luncheon was easily one of the biggest standouts for its weird polygonal geometry with pastel gradial coloring, and you know, the fact that it's a kingdom based on goddamn food. It's food! The denizens are goddamn forks!
Wambu! Wambu! It's okay. It's going to be okay.
Nah, but seriously, in both its theming and overall visual style, Luncheon is just a very cute kingdom. There's a striking lack of food-related enemies, weirdly, but aside from that, the rocks are cheese, the lava is pink, and the mountains are colorful. It's just nice. And it's also surprisingly open, especially when the lava acts as a method of travel when possessing a lava bubble.
Actually, I think the lack of food enemies is appropriate. I mean, Bowser's goons are everywhere in this kingdom, and it's also the last kingdom you visit before making your way to Bowser's. So it makes sense that they'd be invading this place. It's in close proximity to Bowser's turf. But the fact that the kingdom opens up by being able to traverse the lava is a really nice touch, especially since it's clear that the kingdom is built with the bubbles in mind, especially the boss battle. Also, it has tomatoes as coins. That's funny.
So I guess you could say we...
No! Stop right there! Every time someone starts a sentence with, I guess you could say, it never turns out good.
Love this kingdom?
4 more entries, Spectre. 4 more entries.
Bold move having the third level in the game also be the one with the most power moons.
Not counting Mushroom Kingdom, of course, since 90% of the moons are just an achievement!
Oh, are we talking about the Mushroom Kingdom again? That's a good kingdom. I like it.
You! Shut up!
Sand Kingdom is the first level that truly opens up the world. And of all the themes to go with, it's interesting that they picked a desert level.
A frozen desert level. I just realized the oxymoron.
Well, I mean, deserts are notoriously cold at nighttime.
Oh, really? Are they also cold in the daytime?
No.
Then explain the ice, Wambu! Explain the ice!
I can't.
You fucking can't!
It's actually a little bit daunting just how huge Sand Kingdom is. After Cap and Cascade, it's easy to just instinctively take the natural pathway Sand Kingdom has laid out. But the reality is, there's tons of different ways to go through it.
Let's go through the checklist, shall we? We could go to the pathway that leads to the ruins, that leads to the poison lake, that leads into the pyramid, that's not even getting started on the other stuff, and we could go to the oasis, hitch a ride on the big cat, piss off Bowser by trashing his wedding posters, explore frozen caves underground, and maybe, just maybe, go behind a cap shop.
Even in the main game, Sand is probably one of the most expansive kingdoms, since not only do we get taken around most of the major parts of the kingdom itself, but also around underground ice caverns and a giant inverted pyramid. What the fuck is that?
Oh, don't tell me you've never seen an upside-down pyramid before. They're really common in most Egyptian cultures.
Really?
Yeah, we're the ones upside down, bruh.
Fuck, dude. I don't know how I didn't notice this.
Okay, but I think the best thing about this kingdom is that it's extremely thematically diverse. The desert itself is very Egyptian, but there's the underground, which feels like Mayans or Aztec, and then there's Tostarino, which has the Mexican Day of the Dead theme to it. Damn it, I thought Legend Kingdom was the potluck. Hi, Spectre Spark here. Before anyone comments, yes, those statues are based on the Easter Island statues. Now shut up! And that's not even accounting for the many different ways you can navigate the world. The first time you capture a bullet bill, life will never be the same.
I'm pretty partial to the Jaxies, personally.
And Mario's got him on the ropes, ladies and gentlemen. He's ringing them in. He's bobbing and weaving through these devastating corners, and Jax is just not having it. Oh, and they both fell off the platform into both their deaths. I hope it was worth the newfound freedom, Jaxie. I hope it was worth it. So here we are, the 3 best kingdoms in the game. I gotta admit, it's got me a bit shaky. What about you, Wambu?
Over here, my dude.
This is how we're starting the entry.
Yep. Want a seat?
So, you like this one, huh?
Second fave, bruh.
I thought you said you weren't fond of water levels.
Oh yeah, this one's good though. I love beaches.
Can't see any fault in that logic.
Yeah, you get a bunch to explore both on land and underwater, and it's big. It's a lot like Sand Kingdom, but it's better, because there's water stuff. I mean, what's not to love?
Well, I mean, we never really get an explanation on why the water's carbonated. I mean, all of it? Really? Does that shit spill out into the neighboring kingdoms? Does it fizzle out, or...?
Yeah, I feel you, dude, but like, who cares?
I care! These are very important questions to ask!
Gushins, dude. Gushins.
What about Gushins?
They're fun, bruh. They're Gushins.
Yeah. They're Gushins.
Remember that boss fight where, like, unlike every other boss fight, it traverses the entire map as opposed to just one area?
I do like how you have to actively chase it as a Gushin.
Yeah, man. It's awesome. Seaside Kingdom is awesome.
Yeah, you're right.
Volleyball fucking sucked, though!
Oh yeah, fuck volleyball! Oof. Hitting me right there in the gotta appeal the Spectre bits there in this one. Okay, so, fun fact about me. If you make a forest level where I can actually explore the fucking forest, I will love you unconditionally. There's something amazing about the way forests look to me. Swaying leaves in the winds while birds chirp on the branches, or how if there are enough of them, you can completely blot out the sun with them. But the best part about Wooded Kingdom is that you get that on top of a steampunk factory maintained by the most adorable robots ever.
We previously highlighted oppositional elements and stages before, but unlike the Ice and the Sand Kingdom, the industrial factory elements are weaved into this forest damn near perfectly. You see, if you pay attention while exploring the kingdom, you can clearly see that you're entering some kind of dome-like structure, and once you find the factory, it quickly becomes clear that the forest is considered a type of garden to these little robot fellas. It's really cool the way the kingdom unifies nature with technology in a way that's actually kinda wholesome.
Agreed. There's too many stories where technology would overtake nature. You don't get enough scenarios that are more optimistic, where technology becomes part of nature to help it prosper.
From a stylistic standpoint, Wooded Kingdom gets top marks, but then there's always design to talk about, and look, I've already praised kingdoms with their own unique method of traversal, like the Pokios or the Gushins.
Or the Shivarians and their bouncy rolling.
Yes, them too. Point being, of course I can put those same praises onto the Uproots.
The fuck is an uproot? Oh, that's what they're called? Sans would be proud.
Wooded Kingdom is full of secrets and surprises, which can be said about a lot of kingdoms, but even then, Wooded gives a little bit extra. Like if you just so happen to fall off the edge in this area, you lose 10 coins and have to start over.
Oh, wow.
Nah, just kidding, you fall into the fucking deep woods.
Oh, fuck, there it is. There's the blotted out sun. Also, the fucking T-Rex is back. What? Oh, shit, it's already got a hat on. Run! I love everything about this kingdom. It's my second favorite kingdom in the whole game. I love the music. I love the design. I love the stuff you can do. I love you, Wooded Kingdom. But there's only room for one kingdom to be number one. What could it possibly be? Oh, who the hell am I kidding? You know what it is.
Okay, who's actually surprised?
Just because it's the predictable choice doesn't mean it's the wrong one. If anything, it's more of a testament to the kingdom's quality. Right from the very first minute of the first trailer, we were in love with this place. I mean, shit, man. Is Mario in a city? Are those normal people? The fuck is this game?
Actually, I kind of thought I was watching an HD remake of Sonic Adventure at first, but then the mustachioed plumber jumped out, and my mind collapsed. This was probably the most anticipated kingdom prior to the release of the game, and it just took my expectations, smashed it, and said, I'm better, damn it!
And, you know, props to Nintendo, too. This was like the main kingdom they kept showing off during the pre-release hype. So I'll just say, it took balls to make it to where it's not even close to the first kingdom that you get to. Hell, it's actually the halfway point. And even then, you don't explore the city in its full glory off the bat.
Instead, you're thrown into this darker, stormier iteration where you fight your way through the mean streets, whether it be on a scooter or blasting the fuck out of everything with a tank.
Well, there's something you don't see every day. Mario is a third-person shooter suddenly.
Eventually, you make your way to the top of the skyscraper where you fight a giant mecha wiggler, and after one of the most atmospherically intense fights in the game, you've still only just scratched the surface of what the kingdom has to offer.
After that, holy shit, you guys. Look at this shit. You guys, look at this. You get to explore all of this. You can climb the buildings. You can get lost in a crowd of people. You can get chased by, god damn it, it's the T-Rex again.
Not even just the T-Rex. RC cars, jump rope, talking to strangers on a bench. Metro Kingdom has the second most amount of moons in the game, beaten out only by Sand Kingdom, and yet it's even more packed with content.
And for the record, I passed the jump rope to 100 on my first try. Get on my level, scrubs! Booyah! But seriously, Wambu described each of the kingdoms at the beginning as platforming playgrounds. And really, no kingdom embodies that title better than Metro. No other kingdom in this game feels more exultant, more freeing, more like a place to just fuck around in.
Pretty much everywhere you go, there's exciting platforming elements, hidden rooms, and nifty rewards at every turn.
And seriously, guys, the festival. Like, dude, bruh. Okay, so, like, here's the thing. People have referenced Odyssey as the game that celebrates the franchise, but no more is that a fact than the final act of Metro, where you're literally celebrating the game that gave birth to the franchise.
To pull a line from Pauline's song, Metro Kingdom really is freedom like we never knew. And this festival, a perfect end to a perfect level.
Speaking of which, I'm convinced that Pauline was just pretending to not know Mario, and she doesn't want things to be awkward with Mario after their breakup.
Had to fit the headcanon in somewhere, huh?
Yeah.
Get the hell out of my video.
Okay.